Sometimes life doesn't shout when it's teaching you something important. It whispers. It hides the lesson inside pain, silence, or loss. That's exactly what happened to him, on a day that looked like every other, but quietly changed him forever. He wasn't a bad man, just distracted. Always running somewhere, chasing something. Money, validation, approval. It didn't really matter, as long as he didn't have to sit still with himself. He used to tell everyone he was doing fine, and maybe he even believed it, until life decided to stop him in his tracks. It started with small cracks he didn't notice. The people who once called every day stopped calling. The laughter in his home faded into background noise. He was surrounded by everything he once wanted, yet somehow felt like he had nothing left to give. The days started blending together. Wake up, rush, perform, repeat. And when you live like that long enough, you forget what peace feels like. That morning was ordinary. A cup of coffee gone cold on the table, his phone lighting up with messages he didn't care to answer. But something was different in the air. Quiet, heavy, still. His reflection in the window looked tired, older than he remembered. For the first time in years, he didn't feel like pretending. He didn't rush to work. He just sat there staring at the world outside his window, wondering when his life had started to feel like someone else's story. It wasn't a big tragedy that woke him up. No accident, no heartbreak. Just silence. The kind of silence that demands you to listen. He started thinking about the last time he laughed until his stomach hurt. The last time he called his parents. The last time he said, "I love you," and actually meant it. Not as a habit, but as a feeling. It had been a long time. Life has a way of giving you little reminders, moments that feel meaningless but carry messages. That day, his reminder came in the form of an old man sitting on a park bench. He wasn't anyone special, just a stranger feeding the pigeons, smiling at nothing in particular. But there was something about that peace, that simplicity, that stopped him mid-thought. He sat beside the man. For a while, neither of them spoke. The old man eventually said, "You look like someone who's running out of places to run." It was such a simple sentence, but it hit him harder than anything he'd heard in years. He didn't respond right away, because deep down, he knew it was true. He'd been running, from fear, from emptiness, from the quiet truth that maybe he didn't know who he was anymore without all the noise. The old man smiled gently and said, "You know, son, peace isn't something you find. It's something you stop fighting." Then he stood up, threw the last handful of seeds to the pigeons and walked away, leaving behind a silence that felt like truth. He sat there long after the man had gone. The world didn't look different, but something inside him had shifted. For the first time in years, he felt his own heartbeat, steady, real, human. He walked home slowly that evening, noticing things he used to ignore, the way sunlight hit the buildings, how kids laughed freely in the street, how the breeze touched his face without asking for permission. He realized how much life he'd missed while chasing the idea of more. When he reached home, everything looked the same walls, the same silence. But he looked at it differently now. He didn't turn on the TV or grab his phone. He just sat down, and for once he didn't feel restless. He felt present. That night, he found himself standing in front of the mirror again. The same reflection, but a different man staring back. The kind of man who finally understood that success means nothing if peace doesn't live inside you. Over the next few days, something beautiful began to happen quietly. He stopped over-explaining himself. He stopped chasing conversations that didn't feed him. He stopped measuring his worth by how much others noticed him. And strangely, life didn't fall apart. It began to come together. He started calling his parents more often. He reconnected with an old friend just to say thank you. He took long walks with no destination. He even started writing again, something he hadn't done since he was a kid. Not because it would earn him anything, but because it felt good. The funny thing about life is, it rewards you when you start appreciating the small things you used to overlook. It stops fighting you when you stop fighting yourself. One evening, as the sun went down, he returned to that same park bench. The old man wasn't there this time, but it didn't matter. He understood the message now. Life doesn't always send teachers in classrooms. Sometimes it sends them as strangers in the park, or as moments of stillness, or as losses that clear the way for truth. He thought about all the times he'd been angry at life for not giving him what he wanted. But now, he realized life had been giving him what he needed. The silence wasn't punishment. It was space. Space to see clearly, to grow, to breathe. He thought about all the people he used to envy, those who seemed happy without doing much. Now he understood why. They weren't chasing happiness, they were simply living it. That realization changed something deep in him. He no longer wanted to win arguments or prove points. He just wanted peace. He didn't want control anymore. He wanted connection. And most of all, he didn't want to be seen as perfect. He wanted to be real. He realized that life isn't a race, it's a rhythm. And he had been out of sync for too long. But once he slowed down, he could hear it again. The rhythm of mornings, of laughter, of small moments that never ask for attention but hold everything that matters. That night, as he sat by his window watching the city lights flicker, he smiled quietly to himself. Not because everything was fixed, but because he finally understood. Life had been teaching him all along, just softly. Through every disappointment, every delay, every quiet morning that felt meaningless. The lessons were always there, hidden inside the moments he tried to rush through. He realized that sometimes the greatest teachers in life don't say a word. They arrive as loneliness, loss, or silence, not to punish, but to show you what truly matters when everything else fades. That day wasn't dramatic. No big endings, no emotional breakdowns. Just one man sitting alone, realizing he'd been blind to the beauty of simplicity. The day life quietly taught him everything looked just like any other day. But from that moment on, nothing was ever the same again.